Welcome back to the channel. Have you ever done something in the darkness and whispered to yourself, "No one will ever find out"? Have you ever quietly hurt someone and told yourself it wasn't a big deal? Today, I want to share a story that will completely transform how you look at your life. This is the story of a man who believed he could outsmart the world, forgetting one fundamental truth: life is always listening, and the universe is always watching. This isn't just a fable. It is a profound wake-up call for the soul that you will never forget. Before we journey deep into the sun-scorched heart of the Australian outback to uncover this secret, I want to say a heartfelt thank you to all of you, our incredible community. If you value stories that inspire kindness and wisdom, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support is the fuel that keeps us sharing these light-filled messages. Now, let's grab a cuppa and head out into the red dust of the outback. In a remote corner of Australia's red centre, where the heat haze shimmers over the horizon and the scent of eucalyptus hangs heavy in the dry air, sat a tiny town called Dusty Creek. At the heart of this town was an ancient stone bore well, the only thing standing between the residents and the brutal, unforgiving sun. That well was the soul of the community. Every morning, shearers would stop for a drink, mothers would fill their billies, and kids would splash the cool water on their dusty faces. In this town lived a man named Jack. Now, Jack wasn't a poor man by any means. He had a sprawling sheep station, a pack of the finest kelpies, and a brand new shiny ute parked in his shed. But inside Jack, there was a hunger that no amount of success could satisfy. When he saw his neighbors' paddocks looking a bit greener, or they were fetching a higher price, a bitter jealousy would gnaw at him. He saw life as a cutthroat competition, and he was determined to win at any cost. One night, as a silver moon rose over the rugged mountain ranges and the town fell into a deep slumber, Jack quietly drove his ute to the stone well. He glanced around, not a soul in sight, only the distant laugh of a kookaburra. He began using a hidden pump, siphoning gallon after gallon of water into large tanks on his truck to take back to his private pastures. "Just a bit won't hurt," Jack muttered to himself. "God understands I've got a business to run and sheep to feed." That night, Jack's paddocks drank their fill while the town's communal well dropped lower than it ever had before. As the days went by, the outback sun grew more ferocious. The townspeople began to worry as the flow from the well turned into a measly trickle. Families had to queue for hours, and children were warned not to waste a single drop. Jack stood among them, feigning a sigh of concern. "It's a real worry, mate," Jack lied smoothly. "We'd better start praying for rain soon, or we are all in strife." But every night, he returned to his selfish theft. While Jack's station looked like a lush oasis in the middle of a desert, the surrounding lands began to wither and die. People started whispering, "How's Jack's grass so green when the rest of us are bone dry? Does he know a secret we don't?" Instead of feeling shame, Jack felt a smug pride. He thought he was simply smarter than the rest. One blistering afternoon, Mrs. Margaret, a gentle widow who lived on the edge of town with her young grandson, came to Jack's gate. She lived a quiet life, surviving on her sewing and a small veggie patch. Her face was etched with exhaustion, her lips parched. "Jack," she said softly, "the well ran dry before it was my turn today. My grandson has a fever and needs water. Could you spare just a little from your tanks?" Jack looked at the massive jars of water hidden behind his house, but his heart had become as hard as the sun-baked earth. "I barely have enough for my own stock, Margaret," Jack replied coldly. "I've got a station to protect." Mrs. Margaret nodded slowly, without a word of anger. She simply said, "May the Lord make things easy for you," and walked back into the dust. That night, Jack felt a strange, cold shiver despite the heat, but he brushed it off. "She'll manage. She's tough." A few weeks later, the unthinkable happened. The stone well went completely dry. The town elders gathered under the shade of a giant ghost gum tree. "We have to dig a new well," one elder said, his voice heavy. "If we find water, we survive. If not, this town is finished." The next morning, the whole town began to dig. Jack joined them, but his heart wasn't in it. He avoided everyone's eyes, the weight of his secret guilt starting to press down on him. For 7 long days, they dug through the red clay and rock in a cloud of dust and sweat, but not a single drop appeared. Hope was fading fast. But one morning, when Jack walked out to check his paddocks, he was met with a sight that made his heart drop. His beautiful green grass had died overnight. The blades were brown, brittle, and diseased. Worse still, a strange infestation of insects and fungus had ravaged the roots. He ran to the back of his house to check his stolen water supply. As he cracked open the first lid, a foul, nauseating stench hit him. The water had turned a thick, oily black-green, teeming with worms and rot. The very water he had stolen by betraying his neighbors and turning away a widow had turned into poison. In that moment, Jack collapsed onto the cracked earth. He realized that karma had finished its work. The universe hadn't punished him with a lightning bolt, it had simply allowed his own choices to return to him. The greed he had planted had grown into loss, and the lies he had spoken had become his isolation. While Jack sat in his despair, a roar of joy erupted from the other side of town. The villagers had struck a new underground stream. Clear, cold, abundant water burst forth from the red earth. The town was saved. A few days later, a broken Jack walked toward the townspeople gathered at the new well. He looked thin and hollowed out. "I stole the water from the old well," he confessed, his voice trembling. "I lied to you all. I thought no one saw me, but the universe saw everything. What I did has come back to me." A heavy silence followed. Some faces were red with anger, but an elder stepped forward. "Jack, you've already seen the result of your choices. You lost your crops, your pride, and your peace," he said calmly. "If the Creator has given you the chance to see your mistake, who are we to refuse forgiveness?" One by one, the townspeople nodded. Mrs. Margaret herself brought Jack a cup of the new, clean water. Jack wept. He finally understood that life isn't about how much you can take, but about giving in the right way. From that day on, Jack was a different man. Not because he was richer, but because he was right. My friends, the story of Jack and the Outback Well is a powerful reminder of how the world truly works. It illustrates the law of karma, a law as real as gravity. The biggest lesson here is that every action, no matter how small or hidden, leaves an imprint. You might hide your deeds from your neighbors, but you can never hide them from your own conscience, or the witness of life itself. As Jack discovered, every drop of greed he sent out eventually returned to him as loss, and every drop of kindness we give returns as mercy. Our lives are a perfect mirror. What you put out into the world, whether it's honesty, selfishness, compassion, or deceit, will eventually find its way back to your doorstep. Don't wait for your water to rot before you realize the value of integrity and community. Start today. Start with a small act of kindness, a moment of honesty, or a hand extended to someone in need. I hope this story touched your heart and gave you a new perspective on the choices you make every day. If this message resonated with you, please help us spread the light. Like this video to help the YouTube algorithm share this positivity with others. Leave a comment with the phrase "Karma is real," or share a lesson you've learned from your own life. Share this video with someone who might need a reminder that their good deeds are never wasted. And most importantly, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss our stories of hope and wisdom. Thank you for watching with an open heart and a wise mind. May your journey be filled with kindness, and may your well always run over with the blessings you've shared with others. See you in the next video.